Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 14 of What If Naruto Was a Badass Genius. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also stay in tune because after this I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was Sent to the Marvel World. And over on Anime King 2, I'm going to be posting What If Naruto Was a Smart Prodigy. So stay in tune for that as well. And after that, I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was a Deceitful God. So stay in tune for that as well, guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, guys. And remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails.
So, the last spot we left off, they went into the first phase of the exam. As Naruto saw this guy, as his name was Kabuto, it was really strange for him to have information about him that only Root was supposed to have, as Naruto knows that he's a spy by now. They went through the first phase of the exam as they came to the Forest of Death, and with that they enter inside. After entering the forest, Naruto told them they didn't need to rush, as he spent the day training Hinata. Once night came, Hinata was tired as she went to sleep, as Naruto and Sasuke went on a hunt and gathered a lot of scrolls from all the worn out team. The next morning, Hinata was surprised to hear that they already got their scroll. But after getting a bath and getting something to eat, they headed off as Naruto sent a malicious chakra, as all of them were blown away by a huge gust of wind. As Naruto saw two snakes, when he stabbed them, they poofed away. That could only mean one thing: Orochimaru. As Orochimaru showed his face, as he was releasing a killer intent that made Hinata and Sasuke went to their knees. Naruto flipped out the theory from Kunai as he threw it towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru simply tilted his head to avoid it, but in a split second Orochimaru saw the world turning upside down, as Naruto severed his head, as Naruto then blasted his body straight down to the ground with a Rasengan. As Naruto was about to smash his head in, when a wave of snakes came from Orochimaru's body and started attacking. As Naruto said Kyuubi, as the lower half of his body became encased in yokai, and with that he grabbed Hinata and Sasuke and got the hell out of there. As Naruto went to talk to Sarutobi after getting to the tower, as Sarutobi and him and Kakashi and Anko talk, as Sarutobi told Naruto to go back, the exam is still in progress. As Sarutobi told Kakashi to not let Naruto knew that Orochimaru is planning some kind of invasion on the village, because if Naruto knew that, he would probably went on his own way to do something, seeing that his mother would be in jeopardy. And that is something they didn't want, because Naruto would probably even resort to releasing the Nine Tails to rip Orochimaru to pieces, and he wouldn't care about the safety of the village or anything. So with that, the exam went on. Those with the most scroll were pushed to the final round. They didn't even have to fight, as Naruto and Gaara's team, they were quickly accepted, seeing that Gaara's team got the second most scroll and Naruto's team got the first. As Naruto watched the fights, and Naruto was severely disappointed with Ino, as he told Hinata if she fight like that, do not talk back to him. So with that, it came to an end, as the finals, Naruto will be fighting Lee, as Hinata will be fighting Neji, and Gaara will be facing off against Sasuke in the end. Some time passed as Kakashi wanted to tell Naruto that he wanted to focus on Sasuke, but Naruto beat him to it and told him to train Sasuke and he will take care of Hinata. As Kakashi 100% agreed, as he told Naruto you will see him in a month. So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can switch shortcuts, please and check it out for yourself. So let's start this new episode. We begin this episode at the Hokage's office after Kakashi went off, leaving Naruto alone. Allies or something that was valuable in the elemental nations, as Sarutobi sent a message to the 4th Kazekage as he wanted to talk to him about what he learned about Orochimaru's plan, and their allies could lend them a helping hand. As Orochimaru told Anko that he will only come on the day after finals, Orochimaru has grown rather arrogant in his power, said Sarutobi to Jiraiya, who was sitting on the window frame. Yes, said Jiraiya. I can't believe that he's really going to do it though. As he then looked at Sarutobi carefully. How are you dealing with it though? Orochimaru was your favorite student. As a disappointed look came on Sarutobi's face. I did see him as my son, and even though people told me he was evil, in the inside, I was blinded by my love for him. Even when faced with a chance to stop him, I still couldn't do it, Sarutobi said. But this time, I will not. You plan to face Orochimaru, Jiraiya said. You're not getting any stronger, Sensei. You're past your prime. As Sarutobi smiled bitterly, I know, but this is something I must do. I have made so many mistakes in the past, and although I have tried to correct them, the consequences still weigh upon me, and I still can fight. Jiraiya wasn't going to doubt his sensei in his prime. The old man was called the god of shinobi after all. But if I see that you're struggling, I will not hesitate to interfere, Jiraiya said in a serious tone. I can't allow you to die. You can hate me in the end, but this village still needs you, sensei. Even though you're old, you're still a pillar that cannot be shaken. You have had your faults, but you have still tried to do your best. Sarutobi smiled warmly when hearing that. I don't plan on dying soon, he said. But he wasn't completely telling the truth. If it means killing Orochimaru, he would gladly sacrifice himself. Of course, he would worry about Naruto, but he was sure that the boy made plans for things to work out. Honestly, Sensei, Jiraiya said, I have lost Minato. I have no family left. Tsunade isn't here, and if I lose you as well, I will really be lost. Sarutobi turned his full attention to Jiraiya. You can get Tsunade back, and you still have Naruto and Kushina. Tsunade has been refusing my advances, and she has come close to breaking my bones each time I try to get her back to the village. And Naruto, even though he's my godson, he won't acknowledge me as family. Kushina doesn't have a problem though, he said. Naruto is just a little detached, Sarutobi said. He speaks to you when you talk to him. Just don't force things. Things will work out. As long as you keep making an appearance in his life, he will notice you. Jiraiya was about to say something when a knock came from the door. Enter, said Sarutobi. As Naruto slowly entered the office, his eyes traveled from the old man to Jiraiya. As his eyes lingered on Jiraiya for a moment, then back to Sarutobi. Ah, Naruto, have you come for the preparations? Naruto nodded. I am leaving the village along with my mother and Hinata. We need permission for that. I have already prepared the documents and signed them. You should be able to go tomorrow morning. Is there anything else you need? No, Naruto said. Naruto said Sarutobi. You need to keep something in mind. Know that you have caught Orochimaru's interest. It is most likely that he will be after you. It would be best if you permit Jiraiya to visit every now and then. He will be doing the same with Sasuke. That is fine, Naruto said. I just wanted to make sure that things were in order. Hinata is already packing her things. I will see you tomorrow morning then, he said. Before you leave, Sarutobi said, I want you to visit the gravesite around 4 p.m. You should meet someone there. Naruto looked at the old man confused, but all he got was a smile. So he simply nodded and vanished. What are you planning? Asked Jiraiya. Naruto captain in Anvo, well, former captain. She is having some troubles and I'm sure she will be at the site by that time. Naruto made a bond with his team during his Anvo days, so I'm sure he will be useful. As Jiraiya shook his head, his sensei was always scheming. Jiraiya then turned serious. Do you think that Orochimaru would try to get Naruto to follow him when he realized just how he's thinking? Sarutobi nodded. There is no doubt about that, but there is no chance that Naruto will ever follow Orochimaru. If anything, he would probably join the hunt for my former student. Naruto detests people like Orochimaru, and he would never let him get close to his mother. In Naruto's eyes, his mother is a pure person like Hinata is, and if Orochimaru got closer, he would just try to corrupt them. As Jiraiya thinks about it, well, at least we don't have to worry about that. He also formed a strong bond with Mikoto, and Sasuke seemed to follow him without questions. But what do you think will happen when Naruto finds out that the village is under attack? Don't you think he would just simply disappear? Said Jiraiya. Don't worry, I have a plan for that. I will make sure that Naruto fight for Konoha without any worries about his mother. You just leave that to me, said Sarutobi. As Jiraiya saw the glint in Sarutobi's eyes, it was always there when the old man was plotting something, as he just hoped that it doesn't backfire. Meanwhile, at the Hyuga compound, Hinata nervously glanced at her father. Trying to get him to talk to her wasn't an easy thing, but she got him to talk to her. Perhaps he was kind of happy that she made it to the final run of the Chunin exams. Father, she said, without stuttering. Maybe it's because she didn't hold any nice feelings towards the man. Well, she didn't hate him, seeing that despite everything he was her father and nothing would change that. Even so, she didn't like him that much. Naruto was always telling her to speak her mind, but when she was met with those eyes. What is it, Hinata? Said Hayashi in a stern tone. Hinata took a deep breath in. I am going to leave the village with my team this month, before the final round of the Chunin exam. As she spoke in a firm tone, not really asking if she could leave, she was merely telling him. It sounded like his opinion didn't matter. Hayashi was also surprised, but he got over it. What makes you think that I'm going to allow you to leave the village, he said. As he was just asking merely out of curiosity, he was daring her to give him a response. Because if the Hokage approved of it, there is no way he could stand in the way of it. I was only informed to tell you that I am leaving tomorrow and I will return on the day of the finals, Hinata said. Do as you like, Hayashi said. It isn't like I have much hope for you anyway. You have disappointed me long before. I cannot expect anything good. But Hinata didn't feel put down by those harsh words, because soon enough she will show all of them what she can really do. Meanwhile, the Senju compound, Kankuro stared in the sky as they were ready to leave the village and go back to the sand, but he was worried because what Baki just told him, and he had to keep it a secret from his brother and sister. His sensei just informed him about the sand invasion on Konoha. Baki didn't seem to agree with it, but it had to be done because he was following the orders of the Kazekage. The man had ordered his shinobis to prepare for war, and he has to do that. As Kankuro didn't think that his father would plot against Konoha, but it was happening. Kankuro really didn't care about anything, he just wanted to make sure that his siblings were safe. Well, if keeping this information from them keep them safe, he will do it. Temari and Gaara were being kept in the dark because according to Baki, they were much closer to Naruto and his mother. If the sand was going to betray Konoha, it would be really betraying them. And if the two knew, they would no doubt tell Naruto and his mother. But Kankuro didn't want to risk things, as he still wouldn't tell them. Besides, he didn't really care that much about Naruto, so he wouldn't tell his siblings. What is bothering you, brother? You've been spacing out a lot, said Temari as she came up behind him. Our father, he said. That was believable because he has been worrying about his father a lot lately. Gaara came up as well. As he looked at his brother carefully, he knew when people were hiding something and he was sure that his brother was hiding something. But he believed his brother would come around and tell him that when the time is right. He has not been himself recently, Gaara said. I wonder what is happening around. We are to no longer wander into the Kazekage's tower, and there has been a lot of activities happening in the village, said Gaara. I wonder what is happening, Temari thought. I thought things have changed, but now things seem to be returning to how they used to be. Baki then walked up to them. I just got a message from the Kazekage. He said that you're all to stay here as long as the Uzumaki permit it. If not, I will find you a hotel. I will handle your training so you don't have to worry about anything. I don't think that Naruto's mother will have a problem, but the problem is Naruto and his mother would not be in the village. Naruto didn't say anything about the details, but he told me he will be leaving for some training time with his mother, said Temari. All the better, Baki thought, as this was just a chance to study the inner workings of Konoha. So he will just have to worry about the Anbus catching him now that the Uzumakis aren't here, he can move around freely. I have already spoken to the Hokage and he's okay with everything. You just haven't talked to Kushina, said Baki. Talk to me about what, said Kushina, as she slowly walked to the Sand siblings, with Naruto beside her. As Baki turned and faced them, he really needed to keep his guard up. He hadn't felt their presence until the woman spoke, and he hadn't even felt anything on that boy. What was up with him anyways? Raza-sama has requested that you allow his children to stay here for the preparation of the Chunin exam finals. They only just told me that you were leaving the village. Kushina blinked. Well, yeah, we're leaving the village, but I don't see any problem with you guys staying here. She then turned to Naruto. Would you rather they leave with us? It could be fun, she said. They will be opponents in the finals. It would be best if I not see their abilities while they train, Naruto said. Well, I tried, said Kushina. As Kushina smiled towards them, well, come on you guys. If you're going to stay here a month, I need to stock up the food. You're my guests. I can't allow you guys to buy food. I'll buy for you, she said. At the root base. What are you playing at, Orochimaru, said Danzo, as Orochimaru walked inside of Danzo's root base with Kabuto beside him. What do you mean by that, Danzo? Orochimaru said innocently. He knew what the man was talking about, but he just loved to mess with him and see that face. As Danzo glared at him, as Orochimaru chuckled in response. Don't make me reconsider anything, Orochimaru, Danzo said in a firm tone. You didn't have a choice in the matter, Danzo. For you to get what you want, you need me. You shouldn't say such careless things. I can handle things on my part without you. But working with you makes things rather interesting. Danzo was quiet for a few seconds as he went over his thoughts. If he had any other option, he wouldn't ask the snake for his help. Well, the snake was acting right now, so he was just hitching a ride. Nevertheless, if you're going to continue working with me, you're going to have to tell me when you're going to do things that I'm going to find troublesome, said Danzo. Come on, Danzo. We both know that once you get Konoha in your hands, you will try to kill me. We've been working together for a long time now. I know how you think. I guess I'll have to find the answer on my own then, said Danzo, ignoring Orochimaru's question. I want the Uchiha. And, likewise as well, Naruto is off limits. You can't have anything you want, Danzo. Speaking of that boy Naruto, what can you tell about him? He seems a lot more interesting than I first thought. I heard he humiliated you, Danzo said, with a smirk, as he was really happy that the snake was humiliated by a mere brat. That must have taken a great toll on your pride. Orochimaru burst out laughing. I must say, he caught me by surprise. I didn't think that I would see the Harushin in his hands, and he seemed to control the Kaibe power to some degree. There is more to him than that. He's a cunning child and a former Anfu. I will need him for my new Konoha. The power of the Kyuubi need to be used for Konoha, nothing else. As he then changed the subject, how are things at your end? Fine, Orochimaru said with a grin. Things are moving smoothly. I just hope you don't stab me in the back right after I kill my sensei. I will be busy, Danzo said, but I'm sure you have something planned out just in case. You know me, Orochimaru said smiling. Make sure you hold up your end of the deal, Danzo. I don't want to use threats, but there will be consequences if you don't. Later that day, at the graveyard, Naruto was surprised when he saw Yuji at the site. He was not really expecting to see her of all people. Sarutobi did said he would meet someone, but he never thought that he would meet her. What was she even doing at a place like this? And what exactly was the old man planning? He shook off his thoughts as he walked closer to her. As he walked closer, he heard a sobbing sound. He didn't make much of it until he got closer to her. She was standing in front of a stone. Who was buried under it didn't interest him at all, but he was surprised to see tears running down her cheeks. As he frowned slightly to see that she was crying, she didn't seem to notice him at all. As he just stood there, as he saw the look on her face, her eyes were all red, as she looked to be in pain. But Naruto didn't feel a damn thing. There was nothing that would make him move towards her to comfort her. The only tears that made him move was his mother's. So he was basically useless here. So why did Sarutobi even want him to come? As Naruto smiled when he realized something, Sarutobi kept on besting him. He was always losing. Sarutobi was the one who pushed Hinata in his path. That old man was always playing him. Well, he didn't have to put Yuji away. He was going away for some time. He needed someone else to teach Hinata on her reflex and taijutsu skills. He was going to face a speed demon in the finals. It would not do him good if he neglected his training. Naruto simply walked over as he took Yuji's hand, as she looked up at him, as the both of them disappeared in a gust of wind. Time skip. A month later, Sarutobi smiled as the Kazekage took a seat beside him, as they were the only Kages present for the Chunin exams. It would have been good for the both of us if you come here earlier, Hiruzen said. There were certain things I want to discuss with you. The sand was allied with Konoha, and there was things that need to be ironed out. And he also wanted to tell the man about Orochimaru's plans. But this wasn't a good place to do so. Still, for someone who went through such a strong way to form a relationship between the two villages, he thought the man have been here to discuss business. But something changed. "We will have all the time we need after the finals," said Kazekage. "I must thank you though for taking care of my children. I thought cutting the distance from traveling to the sand and back here will give them more time to train." Sarutobi smiled. "Although I was not able to see their training, I'm sure they had more than enough time. The Senju compound training area is protected by barriers, so they would have the secrets if they needed." "Ah, that would be the Uzumaki doing," Raza said with a smile. "Baki informed me that they are away from the village. They have yet to return." "It appears that way," Sarutobi said. "I'm not even sure myself where they went. You know Naruto, he doesn't like indulging everything." The Kazekage laughed for a second. "Yes, he's indeed quite capable for someone his age. I was honestly surprised of the things he can do. You have raised quite a shinobi with him. I'm just glad he's engaged to my daughter." "We can talk about that later," said Sarutobi as he stood up, as he raised his right hand to quiet everyone down. "Thank you for coming, everyone. I welcome you to the finals of the Chunin exams." Sarutobi then turned towards the proctor, Gok. "My name is Gok and I will be the proctor of the final exams. I will state some rules before we begin. There will be a count of 5, and if the contestant isn't in the stadium by the count of 5, he or she will be disqualified. The match will be over when a contestant is unable to go on, or when he or she wave the white flag. I reserve the right to call off a match and declare the winner if I believe the contestant can no longer continue. I will not repeat the rules. They are simply enough for everyone to understand them. There will be no special treatment for anyone that is late. The first match, Hinata Hyuga versus Neji Hyuga. With Mikoto." "Mikoto," said Kushina as he made herself comfortable beside her, as she saved her a seat. "I figured you'd want to watch your friend by your side," said Mikoto with a smile. "Naturally," said Kushina as she saw Neji walk into the stadium. She then glanced at Mikoto. "Are things okay in my absence?" Mikoto nodded. "Yes," she said. "Just missed you and Naruto. Speaking of, where is he?" "The match is about to begin, and I am sure Hinata is with him. And if she is late, she will be disqualified. They might be planning for a dramatic entrance," said Kushina with a smile. As Mikoto smiled hearing that, but Naruto wasn't one for that. He wouldn't put on a show, especially for these people of Konoha. "I just want to see him fight," she thought, as he was going up against a tough opponent. As she didn't know if she was a bad mother for thinking this, but she wanted to see Naruto fight more than to see Sasuke fight against a Jinchuriki. Was she a bad mother for that? Back in the stage, Neji looked around as he did not see Hinata, as he wasn't nervous about fighting her by any chance, because she was a spineless and weak girl after all. But she was just wasting his time by not being here. The proctor looked up for a moment. "We will begin the..." But he was cut off, as a massive tornado crashed into the center, as it kept spinning wildly for a couple of minutes before it blew away. As it revealed Hinata with her right knee on the ground and Naruto standing beside her with his hand on her shoulder. As Naruto vanished a second later, as Neji narrowed his eyes at his cousin, he was a bit shocked by her appearance. He hadn't thought that his timid cousin would be okay with an entrance like this. As Hinata stood up, "Are both of you ready?" asked the proctor. As both of them nodded, "Well then, begin!" As Neji then took a fighting stance, he just spoke. "I thought you were hiding, unable to face me," he said, in an arrogant tone. "Why would I hide, Neji?" she said. "Because you're a failure and you cannot defeat me, Hinata. A failure like you should have just stayed in bed. You're not even fit to be a shinobi." "A failure, huh?" said Hinata with a sad smile. "My own father considered me a failure. He said he don't care if I made it to the finals because I'll still be a failure. I am a weak coward who lost the heiress position to my sister, my younger sister, because I could not strike her down. But what of it?" Neji scoffed. "What of it? Because your father discarded you, you want to prove yourself against me? Don't be a fool, Hinata. You cannot defeat me, that is your fate. You're nothing but a spoiled little princess, and I will show you that you're a failure today." "I have nothing to prove to my father," Hinata said, as I surprised many in the stadium. "I am indeed a failure, a coward, yes. But you've mistaken, Neji. I am not a spoiled child. There is no difference between you and me. There's a difference, Neji said, as he momentarily loses calm. You don't have to walk around, cursed by a seal. You're born into the main family, you have everything given to you, and don't have this fate hanging over your forehead. Do you know something, Neji? My own father has threatened to put a cage bird seal on me, regardless my birth. You're not the only one with burdens. I know someone with a heavy burden, far greater than yours. At least you didn't have to walk around this village with people cursing your very existence. Because you carried something. Hinata took her stance, but she did not activate her Byakugan. As Hinata dashed forward, she leaped up in the air, Byakugan, as she then started to spin as she came down towards Neji as a bullet. There was a loud boom as she crashed into the ground, as Neji just jumped away from the human bullet. The moment he landed on the ground, she was already under attack once again. Her right hand was glowing with chakra as she aimed a strike towards his forehead. As Neji leaned back and avoided the blow, as he did, Hinata brought up her feet as she tried to kick him on the shoulder. He blocked her kick with the palm of his hand as he grabbed her leg. She swung her other feet around, but he grabbed it again. Now holding on to both of her feet, he slammed her into the ground. As Neji jumped up, as he aimed his palm straight towards her chest, but Hinata extended her palm as well, as both of their hands met, as there was a slight boom, as Neji was blown back and Hinata was pushed deeper into the ground. The crowd roared as Hinata stood up and took a stance. Neji glared at her, as he wasn't expecting this, but he couldn't allow it anymore, as he dashed towards her, as he brought his foot up as it was glowing with chakra. Hinata leaned back, but Neji stomped into the ground and drove his hand towards her chest. Hinata brought up her hand in defense, but Neji's blow was powerful as she smashed into the wall. As she peeled herself off, Neji was upon her again. You're within my field of vision, he said. 8 tetragram, 64 palms. As he released his strikes, he was beyond shock when Hinata blocked each of his strikes. None of his 64 strikes hit her. As Neji was shocked beyond belief and frustrated as he couldn't touch her. He just could not understand how did she block all of them and none of them hit her. While he was in his shock, Hinata jumped up as she delivered a brutal kick to his forehead that sent him flying back. He flipped a couple feet in the air as he landed down. Does it surprise you that much, Hinata asked? You say that I'm a failure, and I agree with you. But let me tell you something. I have a sensei who has been telling me I'm not a failure, and he's responsible for bringing me to this level. Don't get full of yourself, Neji shouted. I really do care about you, Neji. This resentment that you carry towards us, it really pains me. I have always wanted to be your friend and family, not just Hinata-sama, the spoiled child that you see. As she pulled out a scroll and opened it, I don't want to fight in a way that will hurt you. Naruto would not approve, but there was a way that Naruto taught her that will indeed give her victory. But above everything else, she just wanted to save her cousin. Besides, it would be good to keep some cards to herself. What nonsense are you talking about? Hinata threw the scroll into the air. Release, she said. The scroll released a wave of water that sped towards Neji, but it did no harm, it just filled the entire ground. As Neji narrowed his eyes as he could see traces of Hinata chakra in the water. It was strange how you guys always fight with their taijutsu style and nothing else. What was she planning? I didn't lose my status of clan here because I was weak. I could fight my sister. I just didn't want to strike her down because she was my younger sister. I wanted to protect her, but because of my weakness, now she carried the burden that I am supposed to wield. I am gentle. My sensei told me, well, he is not a gentle person, but he told me my kindness is what made me who I am, and I should not lose it. Kakashi asked Neji. Hinata shook her head. Uzumaki Naruto. He's my sensei. I can fight because of what he has given me. He gave me courage and the will to stand up. Perhaps if you speak to him one day, you will understand what you carry on your forehead is something you can curse about. What he carries is actually much more. Neji simply dashed forward as Hinata stood there. He struck towards her left shoulder, but she simply raised her hand as the water came up and blocked his strike. Neji tried multiple strikes, but she kept on blocking them with that damn water. He jumped away from her as she was looking a bit winded after using this water. As such, pinpoint accuracy with her chakra. but even was he, as he was feeling a bit tired. Hinata raised her hand as the water started to surround Neji, as he realized he couldn't escape. The water was everywhere. If I raise this up, you will trap in a water bubble, and you won't be able to breathe. Do you wish to give up? She asked. I will never surrender to you. Don't think that you have won. Rotation, he said, as he blew away the water. But when he stopped spinning, he was breathing heavily. This has been achieved through hard work. You cannot beat me, Hinata-sama. You're a genius, alright. That is something that main families members are only to know, but yet you mastered on your own. If I was a clan head, I wouldn't keep you from learning such things. Hinata looked at her hand. I guess I can't continue anymore. Proctor, but Neji sped towards her. As he spin rotation once more, she smashed right into her. She smashed into a wall. But to his surprise, she got up. She was lying. Proctor, I am unable to continue, she said. As Neji cursed, why wasn't she fighting anymore? Is that it, you coward? You're just gonna run away, Neji said. My intentions was not to win, but to put up a good fight. I pushed you to your limits. You can't use the rotation anymore. Today I put up a good fight, perhaps next time. I will win, she said, as she turned and started to walk away. Neji grit his teeth in anger. She was showing his back, even though the proctor hasn't announced him the winner yet. As he launched towards her, but he was grabbed by the proctor, who gave him a warning look. As he calmed himself, winner of the match, Neji Hyuga. As there was a round of applause, with Naruto. What were you feeding her? Was the question Ino said, after the proctor announced the winner. Nothing, Naruto said. She was just taking things seriously as a kunoichi should. I am honestly surprised that she did not break him. Ino narrowed her eyes. Are you suggesting that I don't take things seriously? She said, as that sounded like a disrespect on her part. As Naruto turned towards her, did she really want him to answer that question? After that disappointing show in the preliminaries, if she had just taken things seriously, she would have been a good kunoichi, and perhaps she would have been a use. Ino stared back at him. That is what I'm suggesting, Naruto said. Perhaps that was my fault. I always fought your battles when you got into trouble. I should have taught you to defend yourself instead of just defending you. Protecting me was your job, Ino said, as she folded her arms across her chest. One that you forced me to do, Naruto grunted. But Shikamaru cut in. Hinata said that she didn't want to fight in a way that could hurt Neji. And you suggesting that she could have broken him mean that she has other means. Well, anyone could tell the kind of blow she take from receiving Neji rotation isn't just anything that anyone can shrug off, but she did. Aside from that, she matched Neji in speed and blocked all of his attacks that can be proved fatal, said Shikamaru. Are you suggesting that she allowed Neji to hit her? Said Kunai. She saw great improvements in Hinata. But was that what Shikamaru was suggesting? Shikamaru stared at Naruto for a few seconds. Maybe. After she blocked his 64 palms so easily. He then paused. Your turn is next, he said as he looked at Naruto. As Naruto merely nodded. Naruto, Ino said in a quiet tone. Will you also be able to teach me? As Naruto looked at her, as he was a bit surprised. This almost made him smile. Almost. I will, he said as he vanished. As he appeared in the arena in front of Lee, who looked almost ready to jump on him. As Lee was ready for a battle. This was going to be a hell of a battle. Because this was a friendly battle, he couldn't fight the way he wanted to. Are both of you ready? Naruto gave a nod. Yosh, Lee said. Begin, the proctor said. Let us have a good match, Naruto, said Lee firmly. His sensei informed him that Naruto was better than Sasuke. As he remembered when Naruto caught his kick when he was trying to kick Sasuke, so he didn't find it hard to believe. With the senseis, Yo, Kakashi, guy said, as Kakashi arrived. You came right in time to watch my student beat yours. Kakashi shrugged as Sasuke was strolling behind him. The first match is already over then, he said, ignoring Guy. Yes, Asuma said. Neji won. Hinata could have continued fighting though she seemed equally on par with Neji Taijutsu, and she also pointed out that Neji didn't have any chakra left. She might have won if she didn't forfeit. Well, the point wasn't for her to win. I foresaw something like that, said Kakashi. It was just to prove that she wasn't weak as people thought. She must have showed guts and skills. If she pushed Neji to his limits, it is worth celebrating. I imagine not a single person here was expecting for her to put up a good fight. If she did that, she won. As Kakashi turned towards Guy, "You were saying something?" Guy faltered for a moment. "Let us make a bet. I say Lee will win this match." "He might actually do it," said Kakashi after a moment. "Are you serious?" Sasuke said. "Naruto losing to a genin?" "No, that is not possible," he said. "And why is that?" asked Kunai curiously. "Because he's strong. Naruto would have beaten Neji to a pulp. I hadn't even come close to beating him. He was the person to train Hinata after all. That says much about him." He then turned to Kakashi. "What do you really mean?" "Look at Naruto," said Kakashi. "He isn't carrying his sword. When he fights seriously, he always uses his sword." If Naruto knew that Lee's just like Guy, he wouldn't be stopped by just saying giving up. Lee is very determined. As Sasuke understood, when Naruto was carrying his sword, he would kill people, but he wasn't here to kill. "I don't understand," said Guy, as he blinked in confusion. "It's best if you don't," said Kakashi. Back to the fight. Lee blurred out of view. "Konoha sent you," he said, as his right foot was aiming towards Naruto's head. Naruto raised both of his hands as Lee's foot crashed into it, as it pushed Naruto back a bit. As Lee brought up another high kick, as he smashed it in Naruto's arms, but Naruto didn't let up. Lee then dropped to the ground, as he tried to sweep Naruto's foot away, but Naruto quickly jumped up, avoiding the attack. As Naruto brought down his leg to slam on Lee's forehead, but Lee quickly twisted his body and moved away. As Naruto looked at Lee, he pushed off with great speed, his right foot coming down towards Lee's temple. Lee brought his hands up. He didn't expect so much power to behind this kick, as he was sent crashing into the wall with a boom. As Naruto landed, a second later, he took off like a bullet. Rasengan! Naruto attempted to slam the Rasengan into Lee's gut, but Lee blurred out of sight. As the jutsu exploded after hitting the wall, as the dust covered the both of them. Lee suddenly flashed behind Naruto and slammed the right kick into his back. There was another boom as Naruto crashed into the wall with his front, as he just created a bigger hole after crashing. When the crowd saw the dust blow away, Lee was a few feet away, as Naruto came out of the wall with a few dust and scrapes all over him. "I figure fighting against someone like you would be challenging," Naruto said as he tilted his head. "I never had fun fighting against anyone. Perhaps it was always an enemy that I always have to get rid of, or because it was someone I was always training. I am glad that you're enjoying this," Lee said with a grin. "But we must continue. There's other matches that need to be fought." Naruto rushed forward and so did Lee, as Lee went for a high kick, but Naruto ducked under it as he swung a punch towards Lee midsection, but Lee flipped back, as he then jumped up in the air as he brought his leg down in an ox kick. But Naruto shifted his body and grabbed on to Lee's shoulder and thrust him over his own shoulder. The moment Lee's feet touched the ground, he flipped over and grabbed Naruto's hand as he flipped Naruto over himself. Naruto flipped in the air 3 times and landed. Lee then launched towards him in tremendous speed. As Lee sent a kick straight towards his head, Naruto ducked straight under it. Lee quickly spun around and sent a punch right to Naruto's face, but Naruto tilted his head, avoiding the punch, as Lee sent another punch as Naruto tilted his head back. As the both of them brought up their foot, as they slammed it together, as they created a major shockwave, as the forces collided, the both of them stepped back, as they entered a fury of punches and kicks. As Naruto jumped up in the air, as he fired off 4 wind bullets, as they slammed into Lee's chest. As Naruto held a single hand sign, wind style, great wind breakthrough, as the wind attack slammed into Lee, pushing him into the air. As Naruto went down, as 2 clones appeared beside him, the clones then blurred out of sight. They appear above Lee as the both of them enhance their punch with chakra, as they drive it straight down to Lee's back, as he hit the ground in a brutal fashion. Boom was a stone that hit through the stadium as Lee crashed into the ground by face. As Naruto dispelled his clones as he watched Lee got from the ground. Lee got up as he was bleeding from his mouth. Things were not going as he expected. He looked at his sensei, who nodded as Lee took off his weights, as the ground shook as Lee dropped his weights. The entire stadium was shocked as he saw that Lee was carrying them when he was moving around all this time. As Naruto frowned slightly, that was a lot more weight than he anticipated. Lee disappeared in a blur as he appeared in front of Naruto. He drive a fist into Naruto's chest and delivered a spinning kick right in Naruto's face as Naruto slammed into the wall with a boom. Naruto grit his teeth as he felt the pain around his body. He could not allow this to go any further, as he peeled himself off the wall. Lee flashed in front of him, but Naruto burst into crows, as Lee looked around like he could not see Naruto. But in reality, Naruto was standing right in front of him. Lee was then sent smashing into the wall by a punch, as he hit the wall with so much force, as Naruto summoned two swords. He then rushed up to Lee and drove them into his shoulder, as Lee cried out in pain, as Naruto broke the genjutsu. Give up. I do not wish to see any more of your hidden cards. Lee swallowed slightly, even though he was in pain and his swords were pinning him on the wall. He could not give up like that. While Lee was thinking what to do, Naruto slammed his left palm on Lee's chest and muttered a few words, as several marks started to spread around Lee. The proctor then stepped up, as he saw that Lee was not able to continue anymore. The winner was, but he couldn't get to finish, as the entire stadium shook, as massive explosions went off. As Naruto froze, just by that he could tell the hidden leaf was under attack. There was danger around here, and his mother was present as well. As Naruto saw several shinobis appearing and anfus, the people around falling into a silent sleep. Naruto disappeared in a flash, as he appeared in front of his mother and Mikato. He didn't say anything to them, he just flashed them away. The destination was the safest place he could imagine, his house. When he appeared, the attention wasn't at his mother, but what to do next. This village wouldn't be happy to learn that the Jinchuriki abandoned them in their time of need. But he could not leave his mother alone here. Itachi? It was Kushina's voice that snapped him out of his thoughts, as he saw his mother stand at the kitchen entrance. As Itachi was sitting at the table drinking tea, as if everything was calm and peaceful. What was Itachi doing here in her house? Kushina wondered. Why did Mikato and Naruto did not seem surprised to see him? It wasn't that they weren't expecting him, but he was a wanted man in the hidden leaf. What are you doing here, Itachi? Naruto asked as he walked over to Uchiha. The village is under attack from Orochimaru, said Itachi. Sarutobi was certain that he would come here, so he called me here. Given my status, I cannot be seen walking around the village. To answer your question, I'm here to protect the both of them, while you fight for Konoha. That is at least what Sarutobi want. That sly old man, Naruto said. I'm beginning to dislike his scheming, Naruto said with a frown. Naruto, said Mikato, you have to return out there. Naruto then turned to look towards his mother. Screw what Sarutobi had in mind, as none of them could force him to do anything. But that look from Mikato, it was almost pleading, and it twisted a few things inside of him. Naruto, Sasuke is still out there, said Kushina. You have to look out for him. A selfish part of me would rather you not risk yourself, but you have to go. Please. I will first secure those clothes enough, Naruto said, as he vanished. The water is still boiling, Itachi said to Kushina. I'm sure you're looking for explanations. As he was quite surprised how calm she was. I always figured that Naruto was still in contact with you. I know he would resent you for what you did. With the Sand siblings, Kankuro had orders, and the order was for him to inject his brother with something to make the Biju come out, but he didn't wish to follow those orders. He wanted to protect his siblings, not seeing them take part in this. Perhaps they will be betraying the Sand as well, but it will be much better than fighting a losing battle. We have to get out of this village, Kankuro said. The battle has already been started and it will only take a few seconds for Baki to come to them. It's about time you explain things, said Gaara. He always knew that Kankuro was hiding something, but he never thought it would be this big. We don't have much time. We have to leave this village. I will explain on the way. But Baki appeared in front of them. Leave this village, he said. We have been made fool of by Orochimaru. He's been masqueraded as your father and given these orders. You have to leave the village now. Konoha will not be merciful, even though we have been betrayed ourselves. We understand they were the Kazekage's children, and they could still look towards rebuilding the Sand. He didn't have much hope for Raza being alive at this moment. So let me get this straight, said Tamari. The Sand has betrayed Konoha even though the villages have been working together for the past few years? What was the meaning of my proposed marriage to Naruto? We don't have much time for this, but if it's worth anything, that was the path that your father wanted. He was going to follow along that agreement. Leave now, Baki said. I will secure a path out of the village for you guys. You don't understand, Temari said. Naruto will kill us for this. He told me that he will never forgive betrayal, and when it comes to his mother, reasoning was thrown out of the window. We can worry about that later, Kankuro said. For now, we leave. Temari nodded, at least make sure nothing happened to his mother, as they vanish. Meanwhile, with Sasuke, Sasuke saw Naruto vanish, along with his mother and his mother. What is going on here, Kakashi-sensei? For the first time in his life, Sasuke called the man his sensei. He has been calling him sensei just out of formality, but for the past month, he has been really a good sensei to him. But he was pissed off, all that training for nothing. Invasion by the sand and the sound, said Kakashi. It was just supposed to be the sound. I don't even think that Sarutobi saw this one coming. I mean, with all the agreement the Sand has with us, I didn't think they would betray us. As Sasuke, mind quickly run on Naruto and his mother, as his mother has been treating the Sand siblings like family, and now this, as he know that Naruto will be pissed off, and Naruto hated betrayal, and punishment will be death. Before Sasuke could say anything, Naruto appeared in front of them, as he was looking serious. Why does it seem like the Sand is attacking the village? Where is the old man, Naruto said. Kakashi had never really seen Naruto angry. He always handled his emotions cool. But he was seeing a dangerous person in front of him right now as he looked at Naruto. The Sand has betrayed us. I don't know many details, but they seem to be working with Orochimaru. I got a mission for you from Sarutobi. You are to send hundreds of clones to help them evacuate. As Naruto was pissed off at this moment, for the first time he was thinking it was probably best for the old man just to die, because if he did right now he could just vanish in this invasion, as this was really getting him mad as he looked around as he saw massive snakes battling against toads. If Konoha reacted this quickly, it meant that they knew about this all along, and yet still they kept it from him. Still, for the Sand to work with Orochimaru, that piece of trash, did they know? As wind started to pick up around Naruto as his eyes flashed red, but he calmed himself as he created hundreds of clones. Kyuubi, where is Shikaku Jinchuriki, said Naruto. Meanwhile, with Sarutobi, with all the preparations he made, nothing was going out of plan yet. As he turned towards his student, the disappointed look on his face, his ex-student. I have to say, my foolish student, you have disappointed me. To think that you would raise your hand against this village after all it did for you. I thought I raised you better than this. You did raise me better. There wasn't anything left anyway. But I'm sorry for disappointing you, said Orochimaru with a smile. Your arrogance will be your downfall, I assure you. You will not leave this village in one piece. I will make sure of it, he said, as he removed his robes, revealing his armor. I'm guessing you tried to get Raza to work with you, but he refused and you killed him. That is right. I needed the Sand forces, and when you realized that they had betrayed you, the look on your face was ecstatic. It is still a foolish move, Orochimaru. You really think that you're enough to destroy the Hidden Leaf? In any case, you have come here. It's time for me to correct a few wrongs. Orochimaru chuckled. I don't think that will be happening, Sensei. Edo Tensei, Orochimaru said. How low have you fallen, Orochimaru? As he was using that forbidden jutsu. Well, let me introduce you to the first and the second Hokage. It will be best if they restrain you while I kill you myself, and then destroy the Hidden Leaf. Meanwhile, Shikaku couldn't believe what was happening, as an invasion was happening, but Danzo pulled them into the chambers, and the daimyo was present. But guys, I'm be ending this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm out for now, guys. Peace.